Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something that, well, it really challenges everything we thought we knew about human value in the modern economy.
It really does. For decades, the measure of a person's potential was so clear-cut, wasn't it?
It was. It was all about sheer processing power, your
Right.
IQ, your intelligence quotient. But now, in this age of generative AI, that gold standard is just crumbling.
It's a total inversion.
Yeah.
Our source material for this deep dive makes a really crucial argument. The rise of machine intelligence doesn't make humans obsolete.
No.
It just clarifies what our true, irreplaceable value really is. And that value, it's all rooted in things like empathy, intuition, and moral judgment.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to unpack why emotional quotient, or EQ, isn't just some, nice to have soft skill.
Mhm.
It's actually the hardest, most valuable currency in the 21st century economy. The machine has automated our heads. Now the market is paying a premium for our hearts.
That's a great way to put it. We're moving from a model where your potential was your computational ability, your IQ,
Huh.
to one that's defined by your capacity for relationship, which is all EQ.
So let's start with that paradox. It's actually hard to overstate just how central IQ has been to, well, to everything for the last century. High scores meant access, potential, success.
It was the key.
It was.
Yeah.
But the moment an algorithm can sort through a million data points or write a perfect piece of code in seconds, that traditional metric of human intelligence, it just depreciates fast.
And that great shift is already happening. The core insight our sources really hammer home is this.
Yeah.
Every single time we automate a transactional, repeatable, or purely logical task,
Yeah.
it just shines a massive spotlight on the one area machines can't touch, that relational, messy human side of work and life.
And this isn't just theory, right? It's playing out in critical sectors as we speak. I mean, take healthcare. It relies so heavily on high-stakes information. The IQ power of AI there is incredible. It can detect early signs of complex diseases like subtle cancers in scans, often with way more consistency than a tired, overworked human radiologist.
But, and this is the crucial but,
Hmm.
if that algorithm is the thing that delivers a life-altering diagnosis to a patient, it has completely failed.
How so?
The detection is complete. But the relationship, the actual human experience of being cared for is totally absent. A machine can't sit with a person, recognize their fear, tailor the language of hope, or just offer comfort.
That human capacity for empathy, for presence, it's mandatory.
It is. The machine provides the data, the human provides the context and the care.
That's such a powerful contrast, and we see it everywhere, like in education. These adaptive learning platforms, they're a huge triumph of algorithmic IQ. They can personalize content perfectly, find knowledge gaps.
They optimize the learning path. But what are they missing?
The inspiration.
Exactly. The inspiration. A student needs a human teacher to notice that little flicker of talent, to give them that one piece of encouragement that helps them believe they can master a tough subject.
That connection pushes a student past what they thought their limits were. It's not about content. It's about motivational chemistry.
And nowhere is this clearer than in leadership. Data dashboards are brilliant. They give us objective metrics. They show us what is happening inside a company.
They're the ultimate scorekeepers.
But data can't build a culture of trust. A leader can track efficiency down to the millisecond. But if they don't have the EQ to manage conflict or to see the nuanced dynamics in a team,
The culture just fractures.
it falls apart. Trust is the connective tissue of any high-performing organization, and you only build that through emotional intelligence, not raw computation.
So if the machine takes the transaction, what's left for us is the relationship. That's the new definition of essential work.
Which leads us right to what we call the substance gap. I'm sure you're thinking, okay, if a machine can generate text that sounds supportive and concerned,
Yeah, using perfect syntax.
right, how can we be so sure they aren't truly empathic?
That's a huge question. We interact with models every day that are they're incredibly sophisticated imitators. Is that not good enough?
The source materials is very clear on this. While AI can analyze sentiment and simulate empathy, it's a simulation. It fundamentally lacks substance.
Okay, so empathy isn't just delivering the right script.
Not at all. It's defined by presence, by a shared understanding, not just syntactic correctness.
Let's push on that. What is it specifically that AI lacks that stops it from bridging that gap?
It lacks a shared lived human experience. To genuinely empathize, you have to understand the incredibly complex, context-dependent nature of emotion itself. This lines up with cognitive science research, like from Dr. Lisa Feldman-Barrett, who shows emotions aren't these universal fingerprints to be classified.
Right. They're constructed by our brains based on past experiences, context, culture, all of it.
Exactly. So an algorithm might label a facial expression as sadness with 99% accuracy, but it has no idea why that sadness is there or what it truly means to the person feeling it.
It registers a smile, but it can't tell if that's a smile of joy or politeness or discomfort.
Or even hostility. It's
Yeah.
all about the human context. Because an AI has no body, no history, no mortality. It can't grasp that emotional resonance. It sees data points. It doesn't share consciousness.
And that distinction, data points versus consciousness, that's what protects these three irreplaceable human advantages we need to be cultivating right now.
The first one, and you could argue it's the most important, is genuine empathy and connection. AI cannot forge those trust-based relationships that are the foundation of, well, of everything.
The second is original creativity. And we have to be specific here, right?
Okay.
AI is a master of recombination. It learns by remixing billions of existing patterns.
hmm But true originality, the kind that introduces a concept that genuinely breaks a framework, that comes from some deep emotional insight or a weird lived experience,
Yeah.
that is still a uniquely human thing. It requires depth, not just breadth.
And the third?
Value-aligned moral judgment. This is where code meets conscience. AI can give you this incredibly rich analysis of trade-offs for any decision. But when a choice involves balancing competing human values, let's say public safety versus individual freedom,
Only a human can make that final call.
only a human, using emotional intelligence, can translate that data into a final, justifiable judgment. We are the ultimate adjudicators of complexity.
Okay, so let's ground this in the real world. We've established EQ is essential, but why is it the hard currency? I mean, historically, these have always been seen as soft, disposable skills.
And that view is now just fundamentally uncompetitive. Ignoring EQ it's basically financial negligence. As AI keeps pushing down the cost of analytical work, EQ becomes the main source of competitive advantage.
So emotion in a business context isn't just a feeling.
No, it's powerful, actionable data. It's data about engagement, loyalty, trust, and resilience.
And this is where the numbers get, well, they get staggering. We have specific metrics that prove EQ translates directly to the bottom line.
We do. Just look at performance and retention.
Yeah.
Meta-analyses show that teams led by emotionally intelligent managers, people skilled at recognizing and regulating emotions,
Yeah.
they just outperform their peers.
By how much?
We're talking performance gains of up to 30% in areas like creativity and employee retention. And that reduction in turnover alone is a massive financial win.
30% is a huge differentiator. But why so high? Is it just that people are happier?
It goes deeper than happiness. It speaks to psychological safety. When a manager has high EQ, they create an environment where people feel safe to take risks, to admit mistakes, to offer up genuinely novel solutions without fear.
And that trust is what fuels innovation.
It's everything. When people feel understood and valued, they don't just stay, they contribute their absolute best.
And the sources break this down into 4 core EQ competencies. For anyone listening, these aren't abstract ideas, they're trainable skills.
Precisely. And it's worth knowing them because leaders who master these are seen as 40% more effective in things like coaching and decision-making.
40%. Okay, so what's the first one?
First is self-awareness. Simply knowing your own emotional state, your triggers, and your impact on other people.
Yeah.
It stops you from making impulsive decisions driven by your own stress.
Okay. And second is self-management. So that's the ability to, channel or redirect those disruptive emotions?
That's it. It means you pause before you respond. You stay calm under pressure. You act based on long-term goals, not just your immediate reaction.
Third is social awareness. This must be the empathy piece.
This is true empathy. The ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people, of the whole team, to really listen for what's not being said. It lets a leader spot conflicts before they explode.
And finally, there's relationship management.
Which is using all that awareness to inspire, influence, mentor, and manage conflict constructively. This is where leadership becomes truly transformative, not just transactional.
So high EQ isn't just a personal trait, it's an organizational advantage.
Absolutely. Organizations where these 4 skills are encouraged from the top down get better customer experiences, more innovation, and are just. They're better prepared for the ethical challenges of deploying AI.
It's the mechanism for high performance in this post-IQ economy.
Which brings us to this big shift in leadership. While a lot of people fear AI will dehumanize the workplace. They will reduce us all to just input providers for machines.
Yeah, that's a common fear.
The true implication is potentially the exact opposite.
The sources call it a great rehumanization of labor.
Yes. By stripping away the cognitive load of all the routine stuff, AI frees up human capital. We're freed to focus entirely on those three irreplaceable things: creating, empathizing, mentoring, translating human needs into strategy.
So leadership becomes less about process management and more about managing human transitions, human emotions.
To navigate that, leaders need a new triad of literacies. It's about integrating technical capability with human insight. First, you need technical literacy. You have to understand the tools. Second, systems literacy, seeing how everything connects.
And the new essential requirement, emotional literacy.
The capacity to feel the human pulse of the organization. The skill of translating between what the code is telling you and what your conscience is telling you.
The ultimate goal, then, according to our sources, is for leaders to build what they call empathic infrastructure. That sounds pretty conceptual. What does that actually look like in a real company?
It's not just a slogan, it's systemic design. It means creating processes that are built to amplify human understanding, not just efficiency.
Like what?
Well, for example, it means implementing rigorous, emotionally intelligent feedback loops, where leaders are explicitly trained to receive critical feedback without getting defensive. That builds psychological safety. It means protecting time for mentorship and coaching, and recognizing that those trust-building relationships are the highest value output, even if you can't measure them on a dashboard right away.
So it's infrastructure that prioritizes resilience and trust over just maximizing short-term output.
Exactly.
But that brings us to the biggest structural challenge of all. Our education systems are still wired for the IQ economy. They reward memorization, standardized tests, individual competition.
That traditional model has to be inverted, and urgently. If EQ is the hard currency of the future, we have to teach it with the same rigor we once applied to arithmetic. The great news is EQ isn't fixed. It is highly trainable.
So what does that rigor look like? The sources mention countries like Singapore and Finland. What are they doing right?
They don't treat it as an elective or an afterthought. They integrate socio-emotional learning, SEL, directly into the core curriculum. This means structured lessons in self-regulation, exercises in perspective-taking, practice in conflict resolution.
So they're not just discussing the 4 core competencies, they're actually practicing them.
With feedback, they assess students not just on what they know, but on their ability to collaborate, to manage frustration. It becomes a skill set you train with the same focus as any mathematical proof.
So it moves from being something we just assume people have to something that's explicitly taught, measured, and valued.
That's the goal.
So this deep dive has really clarified a critical point. As this cognitive revolution accelerates, our competitive edge won't be defined by the functions we delegate to a machine.
No, it'll be defined by the compassion, the conscience, and the connection that we explicitly refuse to outsource.
Emotional intelligence is the complex, essential skill set for navigating this new algorithmic age.
It's the measure of what makes us truly irreplaceable and uniquely valuable.
Now, for the final thought for you to carry into your week, we have the strong evidence that EQ is trainable and necessary. So think specifically about those 4 core competencies we discussed: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness.
And relationship management.
Right. Which one of those 4 will you commit to cultivating or just practicing this week? What's one small intentional act you can take to make sure you're prepared for this rehumanization of the workplace?
We encourage you to dive deeper into this transformative landscape in the cognitive revolution, navigating the algorithmic age of artificial intelligence, and just continue to explore that crucial interplay between human insight and machine capability.